So there's something I've been noticing. I just had this really quite exciting, fun experience. I did a lot of traveling over this last month: Colombia, South America, Canada, Vancouver, Canada, Oregon, Washington, California, and a number of places. And I've got to meet with a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of people in general. I was really interested in seeing what is the world out there really beginning to look like with a lot of these transitions, and just had one-on-one conversations with people asking basically, what are you noticing? How's life working? And one of the things that was consistent is people would say, I'm noticing changes, all this is going on, but I don't know what to do. What do I do? The question would constantly come up. What do I do? How do I fix this? You know something, tell me what I should do. And the part to that is really all about all the work we do and everything else is the real question is, what do you want to do? This is all about you personally. But this question, what do I do, was kind of, it just stopped there. There was no second thought. There was no question that basically said, what if? Here's my circumstance. Well, what if this happens? Or what if this happens? What would I do? How would I view this?
So the question was, what do I do? But they didn't, I'm asking, but they didn't take the next step and say in their own head, well, what if this possibility?
Yeah, or how would I go about this? Or what would be possible? So I really want to kind of raise this because it was so consistent across the board that the next thought, what do I do? What if? How would it be possible? What would I like it to be? Wasn't brought into their thinking process. So this space where these changes are happening, these changes are now beginning to happen rapidly. Like we talked about last week, your stuff is coming up. And many times that stuff is going to come up and it hits you as an emotion. And in the emotion, you go back to your past life at kindergarten or high school, whatever
Old
it may
patterns.
be. And then I don't know what to do is in fact the circumstance from the past. But right here, as much of this is all leaving, you are no longer finding yourself in the same status quo. Your life is being changed. You take it to a real extreme. What if, North Korea and Donald Trump really got into a contest and one of them just said, screw you, I'm going to push the button.
Right.
Really a huge change in the status quo. But the world is on the edge of multiple tipping points that the probability at any given point, something, not that dramatic necessarily, is going to come about.
Well, and that even not expands, but comes into the individual.
Yeah.
The individual is on a number of tipping points. They're not as dramatic as that, perhaps. But every day we're faced with this, what do I do? And either I stay stuck in what do I do and I don't move, or I ask the next question, what if, or how would it be possible?
Right. So the one of these shifts that is coming about is guaranteed your status quo is not going to remain. Whether it's simple or whether it's large, big, or small, what you are accustomed to is changing. And so developing a different model to begin to ask the what if right now is, I think, a real useful thing. Not only from the standpoint of, I have a problem, what if, but what if I had a different life? What if I really could have a lot of those things that I want? What if I could really go live on the beach like I've always wanted to do? So the great part about this transition is it's a transition. And when you have transition and you have change, you have the capacity for movement. But when everybody's in agreement with the flow of the river, changing the direction of the river is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
So the exciting part right now is beginning to develop that context of what if, how would it be possible, where could I go with this, could I do something different?
Asking the next question.
Asking the next question.
Yeah, it's like Here's an example. We're working with this publisher. We're publishing our next book, and they sent me cover design. And whether they remember or not, I used to be an art director with designers below me, so I know how this works, and I know what would work and what would possibly not work. And so they sent me this cover design, and it was obviously amateurish, and it wasn't going to work. So instead of going somewhere else, I just took a step back and I said, how would it be possible in my own space, how would it be possible to recreate this, to make a design that works? And so through that process, I asked them, what's another design? So they sent us 55 designs that they'd rejected, but one of them was really quite good. So if I had not asked that question to myself, how would it be possible, we would not have seen this one design.
Yeah, and what was interesting about that is they sent you the 55 rejected designs to support the one that they thought was good.
Right.
They didn't really take a look and see how could they support your desire to do something different.
Which was fine. We're getting the result we wanted.
Yeah, yeah. So what is possible? How can I go about this? What could I do differently is something that is, I believe, going to be very much in everybody's best interest if they start looking at it from the standpoint of how would it be possible. See, the space that we're playing in, you're talking about love and light and beauty and well-being. You're stepping into this fifth dimensional space, but you can't take your baggage with you. When you step into this fifth dimensional space, it's not a free lunch. It's not a touched on the top of your head with the magic wand and now everything's beautiful. There's really quite a bit of assembly and opportunity in the process. And I say opportunity because without the baggage, the ability to literally step into an experience that doesn't work. It's not a failure, it just, oops, it didn't work.
Right.
I thought it was going to work. Without the baggage, it gives you the permission to step back and, like you did with the art or with the book cover, is really say, how is this possible? What are my other choices? What did I do here that didn't allow what I thought was going to happen?
Yeah.
And so this creative opportunity is very much coming in with these waves of light we talked about last weekend. It's the process, though, of each one of us individually deciding to embrace the possibility of a new opportunity without trying to stay in the old status quo and hope for some gift that's going to come forth.
And not trying to control it either.
Oh, very much.
It's simply asking the next question.
Yeah.
What if? How would it be possible? What's next? Opening it up a little bit.
Yeah, and really recognizing, and this is something I've been watching in the sleep space that's opening up with these waves of light. It's really incredible. The choices and the engagement in the choice is becoming very, very available. And so from a place of positive well-being and the creative what if and how's it possible enthusiasm, those pieces are going to come about quickly. But understand on the flip side, I don't know what to do and I don't think it's going to work, is going to come about quickly.
Yes.
So these changes are coming faster and faster in present time. So developing a different mindset going into these changes, starting now and more so over the next couple of years, because you're going to start to have almost immediate results. The structure of time is changing to where it's collapsing. It feels like it's going faster and faster, but it's not. It's collapsing into the present moment. And there's going to be a day where you hold out your hand and the apple will appear because you asked for it. But if you are off balance and uncertain, I'm afraid this is going to happen, hold out your hand and what you're afraid is going to happen is going to happen. So it's all about your creative process as I'm watching, and the ability to what if and start to develop another structure for your own well-being and success is really very much available at this point.